It's the last week of the NFL regular season, and boy, do we have a special presentation for you, breaking down Week 18 and showing you the last game of the NFL regular season. But first, let's get to your playoff-in scenarios. Of course, the Bengals, if they want to get in, they need to win against Pittsburgh and then hope for a Browns loss or a Texans loss if they want to make the playoffs. The Browns, for them to get in, they need to win and hope for a Cincinnati or Houston loss, or they can get in with a win in a Cincinnati and a Pittsburgh tie. They'd be the 7th seed in that case. Indy, if they want to get in, they need a lot of things to happen. They need to win, a Bengal and Pittsburgh tie, and then a Browns loss. And then, of course, the other side of the coin, the Steelers need a win or a Browns and Texans loss, just like the Bengals. For the Texans, they need to win, and they're in. If they lose, they are out. Seeding for the AFC, we didn't put that on here. Jacksonville and Kansas City is only the big real seeding change. We'll explain that later on. In the NFC, it's very simple. It comes down to 3 teams. The Packers, they're in the playoffs as long as they win, or the Vikings and the Seahawks lose. For Minnesota, they are in with a win and a Packer and Seattle loss. That's how they make the postseason. Seattle, on the other hand, they are in the playoffs with a win, and the Packers have to lose or tie. So let's jump into these games for you, starting with the 2 games on Saturday. This one didn't really matter too much. The Buccaneers and the Panthers. The Bucs win 13-7. They've already clinched the NFC South. They had backups in there. Kyle Trask went 18 for 33, 202, an interception. Chase Edmonds had a touchdown. Rachaad White did play a little bit in the first half. Bryce Young, 189 yards, had a rushing touchdown in this game, as the Buccaneers are the 4th seed in the NFC with a 9-8 record. Then the final game on Saturday, the Vikings beat the Bears 24-17 and keep their playoff chances alive. Now they need Seattle and Green Bay to lose. Justin Fields, 241 interception, and questions whether or not he'll come back to Chicago next year. He had a rushing touchdown. Khalil Herbert had a rushing touchdown as well. Kirk Cousins, 318 and 2 touchdowns, one of those to Justin Jefferson, as TJ Hawkinson had a good game as well. The Vikings finished 9-8. Bears finished 5-12 and are the number 1 overall pick with Carolina's loss. To the Sunday games, the Commanders win 27-13. The Eagles played their backups to play it safe, and with that loss means the Lions will have the number 1 seat in the playoffs. Sam Howell, 253, 3 touchdowns, 2 of those to Terry McLaurin. As of the Eagles, Marcus Mariota, 189. Kenneth Gainwell had the only touchdown for the Eagles. They will be the 2 seat in the NFC. As of the Commanders finished 5-12 on the season, the Eagles are 14-3, surprising with that good of a record at the 2 seat. Here we go. One of the huge games this Sunday. The Texans are going to the playoffs for the first time since 2019. They win 27-19 against the Colts. Stroud, 264 and 3 touchdowns. Nico Collins and John Mechie having good games. Anthony Richardson, 172 through an interception on the drive where they could have at least tied the game. Jonathan Taylor had the only touchdown for the Colts. Texans are 10-7. The Colts will finish 8-9 in a losing record. Here we go, the second big game. It's the Ravens backups who beat the Cleveland Browns 27-14, a 13-point win for the Baltimore backups. Tyler Huntley played really well, as Gus Edwards and Justice Hill did too. Tylan Wallace played good at wide receiver, and Matabike, some of the Ravens starters on defense did end up playing. He was one of them. Deshaun Watson, 209 and 2 interceptions, as Elijah Moore had a rushing touchdown. Baltimore already locked in at the 2 seat in the playoffs. And then this game, an all-field goal win for the Bills, who win 9-0 against New England. They had already clinched the number 1 seat, so they had their backups playing as well. Bailey Zappi, 64 yards and an interception, as the Patriots will finish 5-12. Buffalo, Kyle Allen played 162. He had an interception as well. They are already the number 1 seat in the AFC, so they had nothing to stress about. So they'll get that first-round bye and host a divisional round game in Orchard Park, as the AFC will run through Buffalo. Jacksonville, they had already won the division, so if Kansas City wins, they'll be the 4th seat. The Titans win 27-12 against Jacksonville. Will Levis threw for 3 touchdowns. DeAndre Hopkins, a decent first year as a Titan. Shigzim Okonkwo had 3 catches, 18 yards, and 2 touchdowns. As C.J. Beathard led the way for Jacksonville as they finished 10-7. And you notice on the graphic there, it says the number 4 seat in the AFC. Of course, that Kansas City game determined it. Well, Kansas City won by 10 with their backups and win 23-13 over the Chargers, who played some of their backups today, as their whole roster is pretty much beat up. So Kansas City will be the 3 seat and host the Texans as Blaine Gabbert threw for 178. Clyde Edwards-Helaire came in and had the 2 touchdowns for Kansas City today, as Will Greer threw for 2 interceptions and 173 yards. As rumors that, of course, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams might leave the Chargers in the offseason. They finished the year 5-12. The Dolphins were locked in at the 5th seat, so they played their backups today as the New York Jets win 30-24 in MetLife Stadium. What was a poor year for the Jets? Of course, Aaron Rodgers getting hurt, but it was Trevor Siemian who started the day. 213, 2 touchdowns. Breece Hall, a nice day. As Mike White played really good for the Dolphins. The former Jet came in as a River Craycraft with 2 touchdowns, and they finished 11-6. The Jets, despite everything that happened, though, 7-10, not a bad year at all. A lot of improvement needs to happen for next year. One of the few games that didn't have any playoff implication today, the Saints and the Falcons 36-19, as both these teams are not in the playoffs. Derek Carr, 317, 4 touchdowns, and the Saints finished 7-10. Of course, they had a chance at the NFC South a couple weeks ago. Raheed Shaheed had a good game. Taylor Heineke, 282 and 2 touchdowns. So the question is, who's the Falcons quarterback for next year? Will they draft one? Will they get someone in free agency? Or just stick with Taylor Heineke, who had a good stretch of games there? Starting the 4 o'clock games, the 49ers win in a monsoon-like condition game in Santa Clara. They win 20-6 over the Cardinals, as Kyler Murray threw for 80 yards in that game. Sam Darnold getting another chance to saddle back up, and he threw for 171 and a touchdown. Elijah Mitchell had a rushing and receiving touchdown in this game. But the 49ers are the 3 seat in the NFC, and even with the injury to Brock Purdy early in the season, still finishing with a 13-4 record. Huge game here. The Rams win 19-17 and beat Seattle. The Seahawks are eliminated again after they were the 7th seed again, leading into the final weeks of the season. The Rams starters played for 1 half before the backups took in. Carson Wentz was the backup quarterback for the Rams. Sony Michel had the only touchdown for the Rams this game. Geno Smith, 2 touchdowns and a costly interception. So the Rams will be the 6th seed at an 11-6 record. Seattle misses the playoff at 9-8. The Cowboys win 20-16 as they played their backups today over the Giants, with Cooper Rush having a pretty good game. They knock off the Giants by 4 in Arlington. Rush, 235, 2 TDs, 1 interception. He got hurt with a shoulder, but he played through it. Dallas will be the 5th seed and go on to take Tampa Bay, as Tommy DeVito did good in his stint with the Giants. The Giants finished 5-12, Cowboys at 12-5. And we're one of the best teams in the league there for a little while, but give the Eagles the division for the 2nd year in a row. And there it is. The Green Bay Packers will be going to the postseason. They win 34-13. The Lions had nothing to play for, as they already had the 1 seed thanks to the Eagles losing. Jordan Love, 261 yards and 3 touchdowns. Of course, Christian Watson had one of those with a good game. Sean Clifford came in the 4th quarter after the Packers had a big enough lead. Teddy Bridgewater played for the Lions, had 196 yards, and Craig Reynolds had the only touchdown for the Lions. And then this game also had 2 non-playoff teams. The Broncos win 26-17. Russell Wilson did not start, which makes a lot of people wonder whether he'll be a Bronco next year or not. Stidham, 184, 2 touchdowns, both those to Cortland Sutton. Aiden O'Connell, 183, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Both these teams now officially are in the market for quarterbacks. So that's something to watch out for as we go into a huge quarterback draft class. Also, will Josh Jacobs come back and be a Raider next year? So that brings us to the finale. We'll send you out to Pittsburgh for the Bengals and the Steelers, who makes it into the postseason thanks to the Browns losing. The time has come. It's the end of the NFL regular season here in Acquashire Stadium. The Steelers, the Bengals, both have a chance to make to the playoffs thanks to the Browns losing to the Ravens. So that means the winner of this game will be the 7th seed and play their rival, the Baltimore Ravens, in Super Wildcard Weekend. The heat of the moment is now, the moment we've all been waiting for, and a perfect way to end off the NFL Week 18 slate. It's going to be a good one. Tough, physical, AFC North football. So it's Kenny Pickett and the Pittsburgh Steelers who set host to Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. Get ready, sit back, and enjoy the final game of the NFL regular season here on ASC. And here we go. Chris Boswell kicks us off and underway. So we'll go in the end zone, and Evans will not elect to return. So we'll see Joe Burrow, who has carried the Bengals to the playoffs the last 2 seasons, including winning the division in 2021. Finished second in the division with a 12-5 record a year ago. They're 8-8, and a win, they'll be the 7th seed and have a matchup with the Ravens, who Joe Burrow is very good playing against. So they come out to the 25 to start the night. 3rd down and 4 as Mixon and Chase Brown now in the backfield. Crowd is on their feet. Burrow throws. Brown blockers in front. Chase Brown is gone for a touchdown. And the Bengals find the board first tonight. Chase Brown, the backup, has his 2nd touchdown of the season and his first receiving. And a perfect way to open the night. The Bengals drive down the field on the 4th best defense in the NFL. Cincinnati won their matchup against Pittsburgh early in the year in Cincy. But right here on the road in a hostile environment in Pittsburgh, and they quickly silence the crowd. Nice touchdown from Chase Brown on the screen touchdown pass. So here's McPherson to make it 7-0 early on, and he knocks it up and through. The Bengals have an early lead in the regular season finale. So here's McPherson to drill this one away. We'll see if the Steelers elect to return it from the end zone. They do. It will come out up to about the 23. Kenny Pickett, drafted in the 1st round in 2022, started a majority of that season. Pittsburgh finished 9-8 and beat Cincinnati last year in the regular season finale during the daytime. But, of course, this year they say 8-8. They can go 9-8 again, and this time make the playoffs. But this young second-year player has to win tonight. It's now 1st down and 10 from the 30-yard line. Warren now in for Pittsburgh. Pickett looking on the move, rolling to the right, being chased, trying to take off. He's wrapped up by Hendrickson. Hendrickson closed in on Kenny Pickett. It's going to be a loss of about half a yard. It will go down as a sack. It will be 2nd and 10. It could have been way worse, but still, Pickett was trying to get up the field, and Hendrickson was able to hunt him down and chase him for a sack. As Pickett rolled out to the left, he had people down the field. They were just contestedly coverage. As, of course, the Pro Bowler Trey Hendrickson, one of the best players on this defense, gets to number 8 and wraps him up. 2nd and 4 as Harris is back in. Pickett now under center. Give it to Harris, finding holes. Harris continues and is in the end zone. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. Had to get through his own guy who got in the way, but Najee Harris has an 11-yard rushing touchdown. And look at this. Boom, right there, ran into the center Mason goal and had big Darnell Washington in front to help lead him in. And Najee Harris gets the first score for the Steelers, and they're able to respond after their defense comes up big, holding the Bengals to a 3-and-out. Here's the extra point from Boswell. This to tie the game, and he will. We've got a good one in the early stages. We're knotted up at 7 apiece. 3rd and 5. Steelers held Cincinnati to a 3-and-out last possession. Can they do it again? Fake it. Burrow is sacked. Ogunjobi got there. A huge addition, the former Bengal, with a big-time sack and a loss of 4. And this defense, who's been one of the best in getting home to the quarterback, along with the 49ers defense who they played a week ago, Larry Ogunjobi, the former Bengals, sacks number 9, 4th down for the Bengals. And we'll see if the Steelers hike it. They will not. So we got a tied-up ball game after quarter number 1. Steelers and Bengals in the regular season finale. So here's the field goal from Boswell. This from 44 drills it. One of the best kickers in the NFL. I know I say that often, but these kickers have just stepped up their game the last couple of years. Steelers up 10-7. 2nd in inches for the Bengals. Burrow, fake it, and there's Steelers there. He's going to get brought down. And that's Holcomb who got there, along with Cameron Hayward. Big loss, 3rd down and 9. The Bengals set up the play action to try and fake out the Steelers and get a big play downfield, but instead, the Steelers' defense comes up huge with a loss. And Cole Holcomb has stepped up the last couple of weeks, getting the big-time sack there, 3rd and long for Cincinnati. 2nd and 4, as the Steelers have driven right down into the red zone. Pickett, scanning, no one open, going to roll out. Pickett going to take off. Pickett's got an open lane. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. And Kenny Pickett runs it in for his 3rd rushing touchdown of the season. You don't see him take off too much. Kind of a guy who sits in the pocket, but right there, saw the open green, said, I'm going to take this, and he took it all the way to the end zone. And number 8 gives the Steelers a 2-possession lead. As out comes Boswell to make this 17-7. This offense is ranked 22nd in the NFL, but they are taking advantage of a bad Bengals defense. Steelers up by 10 at home. 3rd down and 10. Bengals need to find something on offense. They've been dormant since the opening drive. Burrow to throw, fires, intercepted, and it's Holcomb. Holcomb is going to go the distance. Touchdown on a pick 6. Just talked about him stepping up on the last drive, and he has a pick 6 here, and the Steelers are about to go up 24-7. This game was close in the first quarter, but the Steelers have blown it away in the second quarter. Look at this. Holcomb just jumped the route, and Burrow looked like he wanted Joe Mixon, but Holcomb sat in his zone, read the play, and got the interception, took it back all the way. And one of the best defenses in the NFL does it again. And they put this team up 24-7 in the Steel City. We'll be right back. And this one going to be wrapped up there by Mixon. That's the 2-minute warning. 24-7. The Steelers have pulled away from the Bengals. So here's McPherson to at least cut the lead down to 14 again. And the kick is up and through, 24-10. Bengals need a lot of work to do, but this will certainly help out the cause. And the Steelers will just let it tick down and go to the half. They are content with a 14-point lead, and they get the ball to start the second half. They're officially 30 minutes away from seeing if they will go back to the playoffs for the first time since 2020. The Bengals are trying to go for a 3rd straight season, the second half after this. 1st and goal from the 8. Bengals need a score to fight back in this game. Burrow to throw wide open. Tyler Boyd and fights his way in. Touchdown, Cincinnati. Tyler Boyd has been quiet in the latter stages of the season, but he has stepped up. And he's been quiet in the early stages of the season. He's been a huge factor in the later stages. And he has cut this lead to 1 possession. A good job by the Bengals defense to stop Pittsburgh's offense on the first drive of the half. And they capitalize as number 9 drives him right down the field. And he finds number 83 for the score. And Cole Holcomb's done a lot tonight. Could not prevent Tyler Boyd from getting into the end zone. So here's McPherson for the point after attempt. And he should be able to knock this up and through, and he will. 24-17, this game far from over. So here's Boswell to knock this one through from 48. And again, perfect. And it's back to a 10-point game. The Steelers trying to hang on and escape out of here with a win and the 7th seed. 2nd down and 8 back at the 27. Mixon to the right of Burrow again. Burrow throws. It is. Oh, what a catch. Jamar Chase. Oh, my goodness, what a grab. The catch of the season. And it's a 1st down for Cincinnati. Mike Tomlin can't believe it. Jamar Chase just his 2nd catch of the night. And it's an absolute stunning one. Burrow threw it up. 1-on-1, Joey Porter on Jamar Chase. Look at that. Up in the air, one hand, took a shot from Minkah Fitzpatrick. 2nd and 10 at the 36. Bengals have been throwing it most of the night. They're going to do so again. Burrow, screen pass for Mixon. Mixon gets a block. Joe Mixon down the sideline. Mixon finally caught at the 4-yard line in a near touchdown play by Joe Mixon. It's Cam Sullivan who brought him down at the 4. Oh my goodness, what a drive by the Bengals. The big play to Chase, and now Joe Mixon on the screen puts the Bengals inside the 5. And now 2nd and goal. They lost a yard. And now here is Mixon. Powers! And is in for the touchdown. The Bengals have fought back. And they've cut the lead down even more. And we approach the end of the 3rd quarter with a Bengal touchdown. Unbelievable. That drive consisted of a huge catch by Jamar Chase and a huge play by Joe Mixon. And it's Joe Mixon who ends up finishing the drive with a touchdown of 5 yards. And now the extra point pending to make this a 3-point game. And the Steelers' offense has looked not so great. And the Bengals have done unbelievable this half. And you have to wonder if they can stop them again. Can they get in the end zone and not just tie the game, but take the lead? As here's McPherson to make it a 3-point deficit. We got ourselves a game here in Pittsburgh. As now McPherson will kick it off, and we'll see what Pittsburgh can do. Even if they can get 3, it makes Cincinnati have to score to take the lead versus tie it with a field goal. This kick will go out to the 26, and now we are down to the final 15 minutes of the NFL regular season. 27-24, Steelers on top. So now here we go. 2nd and 2. Bengals down by 3. Here's a give. Mixon to the outside. Breaks away. Mixon cuts it in. Joe Mixon racing down the sideline. And it's Holcomb who hunts him down to the 21. The Bengals have had no rush game the entire night. And it's a huge run by Joe Mixon. This number 4th ranked defense has had a struggle in the second half at stopping this offense. From the 5. Burrow in the shotgun with Mixon to the right. Give it to him. Mixon! Oh, he's in for the 2nd time. Touchdown, Cincinnati. Mixon broke the tackle, and this lead has gone back to the Bengals. They were down 24-7 and have rallied to take a 30-27 lead. Unreal what we're seeing in the Steel City. And we've got ourselves an absolute classic of a game here, as TJ Watt could not bring down Mixon before the goal line. Mixon did a great job at breaking the tackle. So now here's the extra point from McPherson. This is huge because Pittsburgh has to score to take the lead back. And McPherson knocks it up and through. 31-27, Bengals on top. From the 19, Steelers have gotten back into the red zone. Pickett on the move to the left, trying to run away. Wide open! Pickens in! Touchdown, Pittsburgh! He got both feet down, and the Steelers have got the lead back. George Pickens has had a monster second half, and he has an unbelievable touchdown catch. Pickett on the move, and look at the toe drag from George Pickens for the touchdown. The weak side of Kenny Pickett, the throw, and George Pickens, the catch. Unbelievable. And the Steelers go up by 3 with just over 7 minutes to go. So now here we go. 3rd and 11. Huge conversion here. Burrow looking. He's sacked. TJ Watt. Big time play. And a big-time player making that play. Big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games. Number 90's been quiet all night. He hurdled Joe Mixon, who was on the ground, and got to Joe Burrow. Unreal. And now the Steelers can ice this game. 2-minute warning. Steelers trying to finish this game and go to the 7th seat. 4th and goal. The Steelers just going to kick the 3 points. And with 25 seconds It'll be up to Burrow with no timeouts, down by 6 to win the game. So now, Boswell will kick this one away, and it looks like Evans will just be in the end zone for a touchback, and the Bengals will come out to the 25. 2nd and 10 from the 25-yard line after the incompletion. Burrow to throw. He's sacked! TJ Watt again! He got back to Burrow. They've got to go quick. They will. They have to get at least some yardage. Time's ticking. Intercepted! Picked off! And it's Sutton with no time to go. The Steelers are going back to the playoffs after a 2-year wait. Unbelievable and a spectacular way to end the NFL regular season. He was looking for Tyler Boyd. There was no time left anyway, and Sullivan puts the dagger in the Bengals season. Cincinnati had such an up and down year. They were hoping to at least get one more win to go to the playoffs for a third straight year, and the Steelers say no in a 37-31 win. Absolutely unbelievable. That word's been used so much tonight, but it's the only real way to describe what we just saw. A hard-fought game between two rivals who had everything on the line. Both of them were cheering when the Browns lost to Baltimore earlier today. They knew they both had a chance to win tonight, and they gave it their all. But the Steelers, in the end, they played better in the first half and better in the fourth quarter. Cincinnati, they had a lot of big plays, had a good chance to win it, but it's the Steelers who come out with a 6-point win, and we'll see them in Baltimore for the AFC playoffs. So 37-31, one of the best games of the season by far, and it's being played between these two teams. Out of all the teams, really, Pittsburgh's a team that's not known to play that good with 30 points. But Kenny Pickett, 184, one touchdown, had a rushing touchdown as well. That only touchdown went to George Pickens, who had that crazy catch. Cole Holcomb had an interception. Joe Burrow, another 300-yard game through 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. Joe Mixon had a quiet night until the second half. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. Steelers 9-8 go to the playoffs. Here's this final standings, and just a reminder, in the description below will be a document of the Super Bowl VIII sweepstakes. Fill that out to be part of the Super Bowl VIII experience. Bills, Ravens, Chiefs, Jags, the division winners. Dolphins, Texans, Steelers, your wild card teams. Unbelievable. Look at the amount of teams at 8-9 who had a chance but just failed to come up in the early stages of the season with wins. And then the NFC, the Lions, Eagles, 49ers, Buccaneers, your division winners. Cowboys, Rams, Packers make it, with the Panthers getting the number 1 overall pick. But remember, they traded Chicago for this year's number 1 pick, so it's the Bears who will have the first overall pick in the draft, followed by the Las Vegas Raiders, who will have the 2nd overall pick, and then the Cardinals. But those are your playoff teams right here and your playoff matchups. On Saturday, the Dolphins versus Jaguars, the Texans versus Chiefs. Then on Sunday, it's a triple header, Steelers versus Ravens, Packers versus Eagles, Rams versus 49ers. And then on Monday night, Cowboys versus Buccaneers. And for the first time ever, you guys can choose. What 2 games do you want to see? Which 2 games are you most looking forward to, want to see extended highlights right here on the channel? So make sure to put down in the comments below which game you want to see. But this is ASC signing off.